What is the dumbest password you could possibly use? Is it ABC123, 123 ABC? It is password. Using the password, the string password as a password is the dumbest thing you can do. And in this video, we're going to run an experiment to see how fast our database is going to get hacked if we use password as a password for the root user, okay? So I'm going to go through the experiment and I'm going to tell you how long it took to get hacked. And I'm going to give you all the steps so you can actually run that experiment yourself. It's actually a fun experiment. So there are 2 points I'm trying to make. One is fun, of course. Second, I want to show you how stupid it is to actually use the word password for a password for anything, okay? You're going to find the result quite interesting. So let's get into it. So these are the steps we're going to take, okay? You can use any provider you want, but this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you every single step so you'll be able to do it. It's quite easy actually, and it's a little fun if you like to work on programming and stuff like that, okay? So the first thing is I'm going to get a server. This is going to cost me $6 a month to get it, but I'm pretty sure this experiment is not going to last that long. As soon as I'm done, I'm just going to get rid of that server. You can do it for free. I'm going to add a referral link. You can get the server for free for 2 months if you want to do that. So that's step 1. Step 2, I'm going to install MySQL server. So this is going to be a MySQL. We're going to see how fast our MySQL server gets hacked. So I'm going to install and run MySQL using Docker on that machine I'm going to get, okay? Then after that, I just got to wait and see how fast it's going to get hacked. I'm going to write a quick Python script that will check. I'm not going to go log in every time to see it, but I'm going to run a Python script on a schedule on the same server. And it's just going to keep running every hour or so I can just go back at any time and I can see when it was actually hacked. The Python script is going to go next to the database and see what are the available databases. So where did I get this idea from and how come I came up with this because it actually happened. So in one of my boot camps, it's actually in my boot camp, when we got to the MySQL or SQL section, we created a database live, right? And I was just quick and lazy, so I used the word password. So this was on a Saturday. At the time, I was doing a Saturday class. So we did this on a Saturday. On a Tuesday, we went back for part 2 to continue what we were learning. And I logged into my database and it is gone. It is actually hacked, meaning they deleted all my databases. They created a new database, a new table, and they put an address for crypto. They wanted some crypto. And I'm expecting the same thing to happen here, and we're going to see how long it's going to take. So right now, when I'm making this video, I'm going to create everything from scratch. It is February 18, 2024. It is 4:30 p.m.-ish, 4:24 p.m., February 18, 2024. So let's see. It's going to be in the same video. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you when it actually got hacked. So let's go ahead and get the server and start the setup process. If you enjoyed the video, if you like things like this, please go ahead and subscribe, okay? My plan is to keep making things like this. And if you like this one, like it would help with the algorithm a lot. And another thing, if you end up running this experiment, please comment, let us know what did you do and how long did it take for you to get hacked. I'm going to tell you how long it took for mine to get hacked, but leave a comment saying how long it took you to get hacked. And if you have other ideas on other experiments, similar things to do, leave a comment and I'll try to make a video on that. And on the Python script, I'm going to make a video on that, like how I'm approaching the Python script. It would be a nice little Python practice. So I'll link that in the bottom, so make sure you check that out as well. All right, so let's get going. All right, so my server is going to be on DigitalOcean. I'm going to get a little droplet. They call them droplets, those little servers from DigitalOcean. I have a link for you, a referral link. You get $200 credit, but don't get big servers. Just get a $6 server like me, and the $200 expire in 2 months. So the point is, the referral is basically if you actually like the service and you keep using it, I'll get credit so I can use it for all my materials here. No big deal. You just create a server and you just delete a server. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a droplet. I have a video about how to do all this, and I'll link it in the description. Leave this as default. You can try around different things if you can't find it. As you can see, the first thing it shows me is 28 bucks. I'm not going to get that. I'm going to get a much cheaper one. I'll leave everything as default. San Francisco, Data Center 3. I'm going to do Ubuntu. I'm going to get the latest version. I'm going to leave it as basic. And here, I'm just going to go to regular and $6. So now this server is going to cost me $6 a month. I'm going to use a password. and this password, make this one is for the server itself, so make this one a little bit more stronger. Okay, I forgot to prepare a password, and if I come up with it right now, I know I'll forget it. So I went ahead and wrote it in my notes, and I'm just going to copy paste it from my notes. There you go. That's a valid password. I'm just going to give it a name. I'm going to say experiment hacked MySQL. This is just a name. It's not that important. And I'm going to do create droplet. This is going to create a droplet. It's going to give me an IP address, and I'm going to connect to it. To connect to it, I am going to use, to connect to a database, I'm going to use Workbench, which is the most popular client to connect to a database. And I'm going to open a terminal, and I'm going, let me see, I'm going to do new window. Let's see, new window. Why is it not working? Default. Okay, there you go. I got a new terminal. Let me make this bigger, and we're going to SSH into the new machine so we can install Docker and we can run MySQL on it. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to say no, thank you. This is being built as we speak. So I'm going to use, I have the command ready, but if you just do Docker MySQL, and on the official page, in fact, I'll show you from here. This is the official MySQL container, and they have an example command right here. Okay, we're going to use this command. We're going to modify it. Let me open Sublime. In fact, there you go. So I can show you. Okay, this is the command, right? I can, to make it easier to see, I can put some of the things in new line. This would work just fine. So I'm going to add a few things. First of all, the password, right? This is the most important part of the experiment. The root password is going to be password. Okay, that is the most important part here. Well, one of the most important. That's why we're trying to test the experiment with what happens when we use password. So we're going to run a container with the root user has the word password. Okay, so I want to expose a port so it can be accessible. When you run a container, it has to be accessible from the outside. So I'm going to use 3306 from the outside to 3306 in the inside. I'm going to do a port mapping, and one thing I'm going to do is restart. I'm going to say is equal to always. What this does is if a container dies, because this is a server, you never know what happens. If the container dies or the server dies, it will just start back up. The last time I tried to do this experiment, I forgot that the container died, but it was already hacked anyways. So some container, I'm just going to call it MySQL to be hacked. Okay, that's a funny name. That's just the name of my container. Let's see. So we got the command, we got the name, we got the password, we exposed the ports, restart always. I'm going to run 5.7. If you look at the tags here, the 8, there is 8 now, but I'm going to run 5.7 because that's the one I run the experiment with. Let's see. I don't know why it's not showing up here. I was trying to remember if it's 5.7 or 5.8, 5.6. It is 5.7. So that is going to be our command to run MySQL. By now, our server should be ready. Just finished, I think. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to connect to it. I'm going to do SSH, the user's root, at that IP address. Hit enter. It's going to ask me, do I want to add this to my list? Yes. So it's going to ask me the password. This is the password I used when I create the server. Remember, I copied it from my notes. So I'm going to copy it, paste it. When you paste it, it's not password, so it's not going to show you, but it is there. You just got to trust it. Hit enter. Voila. I'm in. Right now, I'm in the server. I have SSH'd into the server. I'm connected to the server. So if I do Docker -- version, Docker is not installed, but it's going to tell me how to install it. I can install it in one of those ways. I'm going to install it this way because this is just for an experiment. I don't need to do it the more recent way. This might install a little bit outdated version, but it works for us. Okay, once Docker is installed, that's all we got to do is run our command, and voila, we'll be good to go. So Docker is installed. Let me do clear, do the version part. There you go. Now we get this, so I know it is installed. I'm going to clear the screen. Okay. Now let me get my command to run the container. This is a Docker run command. I'm going to just copy paste it here. Hit enter. It's going to download the image and it's going to run it. We have -d, so it's going to run it in the background. So that means if we disconnect from this server, it will be totally fine. So once this is done, I'm going to do Docker PS. I'm going to see what the containers are running. I'm going to try to connect to it from the outside. Okay, I'm going to do clear Docker PS. All right, we can see the server is running. I can make it more like this. That's the name of our container. It's running on this port 3306 from the outside. So the hackers are going to come from the outside. So I needed to make it accessible from the outside the container. So let's try to connect to it just like the hackers would. I mean, I know they're using a script. They're not going to manually connect. So let's get the IP address of our machine. The IP address of our machine is this guy here. So I'm going to go to Workbench. I'm going to click on New Connection. I'm going to call my connection experiment hacked. Okay, and this is the IP address. The port is 3306. The user is root. I'm going to click on test connection, and the password is the dumb password, which is password. This is the password to the database. This is how they're going to be able to connect to. So I'm going to click OK. Successful. Okay. And let's get into it. One thing I forgot in the list of steps is I'm going to create a dummy database. So I can basically, when they hack it, they have something to delete, right? They're going to think there is something there. So I'm going to say create database. I'm going to call it my store. Okay, maybe they think it's a e-commerce store. So this runs successfully. If I just click on refresh, the database will show up here. And I'm going to create one table. I'm going to say create table. I'm going to say users list is the name of the table. I'm going to do ID. And I'm going to do full name. Okay, and for the full name it's var character non-nullable. Let's just do that. It's going to be empty. I'm going to leave the table empty. Created the table. Voila, now the table is created. If I go here, if I right click and select, we can see it runs, but it is empty. I can put data in there, but I don't think they would care. Let's see what happens. All right, so pretty much done. We have the database installed and running, and I checked I can connect to it from my laptop, right? This is the database is running on a remote server. I connect to it from my laptop. Now all I have to do is come every now and then and make sure my table is there. What I noticed last time is they delete this entire schema or this entire database, and they create their own database with a message saying, hey, send us crypto, this much cryptocurrency, not crypto, Bitcoin, specifically Bitcoin. Well, of course, Bitcoin is a crypto, specifically Bitcoin, to this email address. So let's see what happens. Again, right now I just did this February 18, 4:40 right now. So it took about 10 minutes to do all this. Okay. So in a new video, I'm going to show you how I'm going to set up a Python script on the same server, on this DigitalOcean server. On here, I'm going to use a cron tab. I'm going to write a quick, really simple Python script. And I'm going to set it as a cron tab. I'm thinking to run it every 30 minutes. It's going to run every 30 minutes, and it's going to output a file. So later on when I come back, in a day, I can come back in 2 days, and I'll look at when it actually failed, because it's going to actually save a file with a name that says db failed or something like that. Okay, so I'm going to create a video, and right after this I'm going to continue to create that video, and I'm going to link it down in the description. So hopefully you enjoy the experiment, but let's see how long. I'm going to come back and edit the same video. It's not going to be two different videos to see the result, and I'm going to let you know how long it took to get hacked. All right, just a quick update before I get to the actual result of the experiment. So I wrote the Python script, I created a video. It took like 30 minutes just for the video. I prepared the script and created the video. But as you can see, I have, let me show you. What I have here is I have a file called hack status, and if I tell that script is going to print true, I probably should put a timestamp on it, but if it's a false, meaning it's hacked, it can't find the DB, it's going to print false with a timestamp. Then we know exactly when it actually failed. Okay, so we have a quick Python script. Let me see, I'm going to do vim check hack. This is a quick Python script. It's basically connecting to the database using that port, that user, that password that we created, and there's a function basically to check. And here, basically, whenever it fails, it's going to put in the current time. I can actually modify this even for the true, so I know exactly when it ran. We can add that. So I'm going to do a quick modification. There you go. Usually, it's not a bad idea. It's not a good idea to make a change and not test it. So if I do tail -f, that is going to print true. The next minute, right now it's running every minute. I'm going to change it so it would run every 30 minutes. To also show you that part, cron tab -e, you can see this is a script. I'm using a virtual environment, the script, and the output goes into this file. So this is how I'm keeping track of it. I'm going to come back tomorrow. I'm going to look at it. As I set this up in the same server. If I do docker ps, this is our database. Our database is still running. Right now it's 547. Let's see. It looks like the database is still there. They didn't hack it. I mean, it would be surprising if they hacked it this quick. But here we are. Okay. I'll come back with the update. All right, so let's see if we are hacked already. So right now it is the next day, February 19, it's 11 a.m. Spoiler alert, we are hacked, okay? I think they hacked my camera too because my phone, I was using my iPhone as a camera and that is not working. So the video might look a little different. So anyways, when I connect to the database, in fact, let me just make a new connection. This was the one we created, right? Click on it, connect to it, and my database is gone, okay? Recover your data. That's the new database they created. The hackers got in there, deleted my database, and created a new database. So let's look at this. This is a database name, and there is one table in there. Again, they call it the same thing. They give it the same name. Recover your data. So quick. It's not even 24 hours. It's already hacked. We're going to go look at the logs to see when it was hacked. Let's just open it real quick. This is the row they added. So they added 2 rows. Let's pull it up here, and just to see it, I'm going to do all your data is backed up. You must pay 0.015 BTC. How much is it in dollars? So right now, BTC is about 60,000 times 0.015. So they want $900. All this for $900. Okay, that's how much they want approximately. Like Bitcoin is about 60,000 right now. Okay. So something like that. It's less than 60,000. So anyways, they're saying send it to this. I don't know what that is. That's like a wallet or something in 48 hours. Your data will be publicly disclosed and deleted. Not only they want your money, they're also trying to blackmail you. They're trying to publicly, show your basically share your stuff to the public. And for more information, there's a link. I didn't even go to that link. Probably not a good idea to go to that link, but I'm a risk taker and let's actually do it. Let's see where that goes. Okay. All right. So they just have some shell script. You can contact us if you're having problems paying with crypto, blah, blah. They have a lot of information about all the, I see Binance. I know that one is an exchange. There you go. So it is hacked and they want Bitcoin. So let's see when was it hacked. Also, let's look at the second, what does this say here? Well, Workbench is a little wanky, right? You have a black background and they show black font. After payment, send email to this and we'll provide you a link so we can recover. There you go. There's the hackers. Let's look at when was it hacked. Okay. If you remember, it was like 4:40 or 4:30-ish. We did it last night. So let me get the IP address. Let me jump into that machine. I'm actually in that machine, but I'm going to make a new connection. I'm going to do SSH root at that IP address. I forgot. I got to get my password from my notes. So let me look for it. Here is my password right here. All right. Clear ls. This was the file, remember? So I'm going to open it. We should see a lot of, I see a lot of true. So if I go to the bottom of the file, I see a lot of false. I'm going to go to the top and I'm going to search for false to see when the first false actually happened. So it happened at 6 o'clock, okay, on the 6 a.m. In fact, let me go to the top. I think this might be UTC. Yeah, because this was when this printed. This was when I created the script. And so this is UTC time, okay? So started at 1 o'clock, 1:47, right? And then it got hacked at 6. So it took 6 hours, literally 6 hours for our database to get hacked. So I hope you learned a lesson. Using a dumb password, using password for a password is very, very dangerous. It's not, I used to think like there's millions of sites out there. What are the chances they will get to me? But the chances are about 6 hours. Okay, so that was the experiment. an idea for you when you're doing this experiment. One extra step you can do is you can turn on logs on your server. Remember when we run this query, you can actually pass in a few more parameters. So you get a log of all the queries that actually run. So you can actually see what queries they run. Okay, you might be able to see where they connected from, the IP address. Not that it matters, but it would be fun actually to see the actual SQL they executed. So if I had the logs turned on, I thought about it afterwards, then I would be able to see exactly what queries they run. So that's one little improvement you can do to this experiment. But hopefully you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave me a comment. See what you think of this little experiment and see if you actually learned a lesson. All right? But all right, let's move on to the next one.